Welcome to Baconsale.
Holy cow, my eardrums.
Is that the loudest thing ever?
You just killed everyone that was listening.
Let me try to change my volume while still speaking in this voice. Is that better?
No, you're terrifying.
What is that? Hey everyone, welcome to Baconsale. I think I got the show figured out on are we on episode 6?
Yes, this is episode 6.
Huh. All right, here we go. Jake, will you lead us in?
I certainly will, Kent. Today we are going to talk about Fast and the Furious, and we have a really special guest here who is.
Do you want to introduce ourselves first?
No, I want to go to our first. I'm already there. Mark.
I'm Joel.
No,
and I'm Kent. How's it going?
And with us always is Jacob.
Jake and I are sharing a mic right now, which is why we're giggling, and we will be giggling the entire show. I'm chewing some gum. Just so you're not offended.
Why are you
Jake.
chewing gum if we're doing an audio podcast?
Well, no, for Jake's sake.
Oh, pop a mint, man.
Gum works,
I'm
right?
grateful. Honestly.
Gum goes mint, nothing.
It's all good. The audience will approve it. Yeah. So we do have a guest today. Jake, I guess you want to jump the gun and go there.
Yeah.
I do. I'm just so excited about Mark being here that I wanted to get to Mark first as our special guest before we get to the regular old people.
I'm really excited to be here.
That's
as
Mark.
the first guest.
He is.
You are the first guest.
I am.
First one.
This is too hard. This is way too hard. I just want to. Yeah.
I came in with the champagne bottle. I broke it across the table when I came in as the first guest.
You know, we're
thrilled.
We're very exclusive here, as you know.
Yep.
And bringing guests in was kind of a tough thing for us.
Yeah.
But we're glad you're here.
We drew straws. We voted. We cast lots. We did everything we could, and you still got in. So congratulations.
I know. It was a journey.
You took my mic, so I'm pretty upset right now. And let me just tell everyone why you're here. I was telling Mark about 2 months ago about this screening that was coming up. And I said, hey, yeah, I have to see all these crappy movies. For example, I'm going to see the Furious 7 screening pretty soon. And I had no idea what kind of Pandora's box I just opened because he kind of jumped on it.
Oh, yeah. No, when you hear Furious or Fast and Furious, the entire franchise, there's very few things that you can truly love and have that type of relationship with this franchise. And you just did not understand. We were in the car together. I don't even remember where we were going. And you, I pretty much dominated the next 45 minutes.
What kind of car was it?
No, it was it was my car.
Oh,
it was I think I was in my Civic.
So
Just a Honda Civic.
hybrid.
That's pretty much what they drive in Fast and the Furious, right?
He actually added a spoiler as he was talking to me about Fast and Furious.
No joke, my Toyota Corolla does have a spoiler.
Wait, it does?
It does.
On Tess?
Yeah, Tess has a spoiler on her.
Tess can barely go above 35.
You haven't seen her on the freeway.
No, I haven't.
I have been in the freeway
and it almost
with you.
stopped.
Yeah, I drive safely when you guys are around because, you can't handle the speed.
But so basically, I was just so dumbfounded that anyone could be this passionate, especially anyone as affluent as Mark, could be this passionate about.
And that's
Fast
just
and
it. Is
Furious franchise.
This passion was very loud. That's
It's just loud.
well, I'm just saying. I heard this violent argument erupting in the office, and I was like, "Whoa, what are they talking about?" And then walk over. Oh, Fast and the Furious? Really? I had no idea someone could be as passionate as Mark is about the franchise.
And I think we're going to find out a little bit more about that passion as we go on, because we all have different levels of experience here.
Yes.
Mark, you've seen them all how many times?
I've seen them all multiple times.
Even
Own
Furious
them all.
7?
Furious 7 I've seen twice.
Seriously?
My wife can't
It takes a special movie to see it twice in the theater.
I know.
Look right here, Furious 7, getting all the way back to the screening because Kent did invite me to the screening. I was
had to.
thrilled.
I had no
was
choice.
thrilled.
Okay, so one of those was free.
Yeah, one of them was free, but
okay.
my wife was quite upset with me.
Would you pay to go again?
No, I would.
And he did.
Matinee?
No, full price. We went IMAX,
3D IMAX?
3D,
What? Wait.
whole experience.
Is Furious 7 really in 3D IMAX?
Yes.
What needs to be 3D?
When you see it, you'll see because it is glorious. Besides just seeing The Rock, just in the Rock Vin Diesel scenes
At one
with
time.
both of them wife beaters, the cocoa butter right there.
When The Rock breaks his cast in IMAX 3D, and you see the little chalk come out in 3D, it's an amazing
That's the
part.
moment right there?
Daddy's got to go to work.
Hey, worth the price of admission right there.
So, Mark's, you've seen them all multiple times.
Yes.
That's fair to say, right?
Oh, yeah.
I have seen them all once. In fact, I just rewatched number 4 for the second time. That was the first one I'd seen twice. And boy, that was a mistake. Jake, I'm not sure about you. How many have you seen, or which ones have you seen?
I've seen 1, 2, 5, and 6.
You skipped 4.
And I didn't know there was a 4.
It's kind of hard because the titles are so ridiculous.
They
Right.
are. Can I just okay? And then I'm coming from it from the standpoint of the novice. I've seen a grand total of 1. I've only seen the first movie.
Which is actually what ties us into the topic today.
Yeah, because to me, I watched the first one. Meh, didn't really care for it. Didn't really see any others. In fact, I may have seen others, but I've forgotten that I've seen them because they all blend together. That's my opinion, and that's why we're here today. Is because Mark here is going to try to convince me that they are truly the greatest movies in the world.
Look,
Would you say the greatest franchise ever made?
no. Like, look,
Cool,
you
no?
need to come back to what Fast and Furious truly is,
Okay.
which is, if we're talking greatest franchise, no, like, it's not going to be there. But if you're talking just action movies, okay, and you put them into that lane where it's like, these are amazing, and I will use the word amazing, action movies.
Are they action movies?
They are.
I'm saying they're not until about number 5.
See-
They were not action movies.
See, because it works. Look, if we go
They're
all the way back to the
basically
beginning.
Top Gear, but less funny.
No.
That's my
Come
impression
on.
of the movies here.
Look, if you go back to first, how long ago did you watch that first movie?
Probably around the time it came out.
About 2001.
Yeah.
See, look, that's the first mistake with the franchise right there.
Is the first movie was the first mistake?
No, like,
Yeah,
because
I agree.
the movie is built, all these movies are built for cable. Okay? These are like just like 80s action movies. You can come in at any point in the first 3 movies, 1, 2, and 3. Any point in the movie, you can come in and finish it, like cable wise. And you can kind of surf and come in and out. There's not enough story arc to keep you involved where you have to, you can just jump in and out. It's like a sweet 80s movie.
So you're saying I could pop into Furious 5 the Furiouser. I don't know all the titles, but I can jump into that one, no context since the first one, and still be like, oh, this is going to be fun.
No, like first 3. After that, 4.
So it's
4, I believe, is the turning point in the franchise, and I think me and Ken are going to actually disagree.
Tokyo
with
Drift.
this. No,
No.
that was 3.
Which is not actually number
So
3.
just-
It's actually number 6.
It's like 6.5.
Yeah.
Like they kind of had to explain it, which is just to go over it, give the fans at home, because there's going to be there's no spoiler
And
alert
actually, I would
warnings.
like
I'm just
some-
going to go for everything.
I would like some context actually before we start. Could
Yeah.
you give the titles of all the movies?
Oh yeah,
Please do.
That's where I was going.
And would you go give us character descriptions or who
Whoa.
the big players are?
All
No,
up front? Well, I think we should give the names of the movies first because that's the most confusing thing for me. They have no consistency in their naming.
Here's the thing I found out with Mark is that he doesn't actually know all the names of the actors or characters.
You don't need to for this content.
So I would
You
like
don't
to get
need
his
to.
interpretation of who the characters are.
Okay.
No, look right
so
here.
please explain the series.
The
to us.
Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious
Can
3.
we point out that it's 2, the number 2?
It is the
Too
number
fast, 2 Furious.
Okay. Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, which is 3, but really it's 6.5 because
That's not
the
confusing at all.
writers had to kind of circle back on it.
Oh, good heavens.
Then it's Fast and Furious,
No
which
thes.
is 4. You
So
eliminate
by
the does.
eliminating does, you are now the 4th movie, not the first
Hey,
movie.
the movie was so fast and furious, you don't need the Okay.
But anyway, they got rid of the thes, and they got rid of the numbers, and they got rid of any sort of
Until
subtitle.
It was a soft reboot, actually.
yeah,
Really?
no,
Yeah.
4 was definitely the turning point in the franchise, which then led to Fast 5. where
That's
they
just Fast 5.
It's just Fast 5 where they did away with the Furious side.
And it's nothing like Magnificent Seven. I mean, there is not 5 characters. It's
No.
just
So-
Fast number 5.
Is
just needed a
fast
name.
the common word in all these? Because so far
No.
they jump back and forth.
They drop because then 6 is the one where it's like Fast 6, where was it just Fast 6?
They actually build it as Furious 6, but that never stuck.
According to
Because of 7.
Wikipedia, the source of all knowledge and truth, it's Fast and Furious 6.
And that's what it
And then it
really
was Furious 7 because 6 was actually supposed to be 2 movies.
is. Yeah.
And then they meshed them together.
So there is no common word that is in all the titles,
No, but that's your
except they all have F words.
yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
No, even 8, which will be made.
But what do you
And-
call a franchise? What do you call the franchise when there's no common element?
No, Fast and Furious, which gets back to the 4.
I think F and F.
yeah.
'Cause
F and F.
that's what I say when I walk out of these movies. F and F, why did I sit through
Family
that?
friendly. Family friendly. That's both starts with F.
Look, and then you get back to the whole thing where what made these movies great and what made them great action movies was the first movie they really tried to make just a normal movie.
Can we
okay?
define great real
No,
quick?
like,
Like,
great-
are we talking great cinema, like
No,
cinematic
no.
art, or great?
I had defined it at the very beginning, which is great 80s action movies, okay? Where you go in and you're just there for this great experience and it's like Commando, or you're like the early diehards, or these things where there's obvious plot holes.
I like that you said the early diehards.
The early diehards.
They're still
Not
going.
everything after 3, no.
But no, I mean, you have these movies that are iconic, but if you go back and watch them right now, if you're watching 80s action movies, they're not that great.
No.
I mean, they don't age well.
But you don't watch Predator because it's a cinematic art. You watch it because it's awesome.
No, but that's the whole thing with Fast and Furious, and you're making my argument for me there, which is you watch them as the experience. Because even if you go back right now, which I did in preparation for this, and I watched the original, The Fast and Furious, and that thing is incredibly dated. Like, unbelievably so.
But isn't
By
it the exact
4.
same movie over and over again?
No, they have actually reinvented this successfully, which is part of the things that's working for the franchise.
Well, can I oh, go ahead. Ken.
I'm gonna disagree.
Oh, go for it.
Most of this show with you. I
Welcome
would
to the
say-
club, Mark.
Exactly. The first 4 are actually not 80s action movies. They're just terrible movies. They're boring. And yes, you may want to catch them on cable, but it's because you have nothing else to do. 5 is where they become
Who
80s
has
action
cable?
movies. I know. Yeah, hotels. 5 is where they become fun 80s action movies. So I think more than half the series
So-
is just kind of
Ken, just to clarify from your point of view, so you're saying Furious, what was it called? Furious and Furiouser 5,
Fast 5.
Fast 5, is the point where they realized they were a joke and decided to embrace it, much like Expendables 2?
Yes.
See,
That
but
is exactly my
I
point.
would disagree with that slightly, and I would still say it's 4 where they made that change, where they came back and all of because
The
4
Fast and the Furious, what is that one called?
Fast and Furious, no thus.
Okay.
This is going to be just an explanation of the and
no.
Tokyo drifts.
Look, seriously,
it should just be like, just for clarity for the audience, it should just, I'm just going to say the number of the film.
Okay,
Because
thank you.
it's going to
Thank
get
you.
confusing as
Please
all
do.
get
From
out.
now on, let's just use numbers because, I mean, like Friday the 13th at least had the courtesy of saying Friday the 13th part, whatever.
Yeah.
The Twilight series, as stupid as it was, at least started with Twilight Saga, whatever it
See,
was.
because look, but getting back to it, the 4th movie, it was the turning point in the franchise where they essentially said, look, all these actors, none of them have anything going on. Okay? None of
Basically.
them do. And they don't.
So, okay, we get back to the characters then. Okay, so involved in this is who I know is involved with,
Right.
with the franchise based on the first one and based on other things I've seen. You got Paul Walker.
Right.
You got Vin Diesel.
Yep.
Are they in every one
They are in every one
except for
but
Tokyo
3.
Drift? Except for Tokyo
They're
Drift.
in every one but 3.
Actually, Vin Diesel is not in 2 because he thought he was a bigger star than the series, which
Right.
at the time he was.
Was he?
But that's where it came.
Was that when he did
circling
the
back for 3.
pacifier?
That's when he did the pacifier, and then he quickly realized, oh wait, I am not a star. I should go back, and he cameoed in 3.
He cameoed in 3 to
to
reboot the
tease 4,
franchise.
and then 4 was his return.
So Vin Diesel was in 3, but he wasn't in 2, and Paul Walker
Yes.
was in 2, but he
Paul
wasn't
Walker
in
has
3.
been in every single one but 3.
So there is no common person in every movie either.
It just seems like up till 4, they didn't realize that the series could go on.
I don't think they
No,
know.
they didn't.
I still don't think they know it's a series.
No, but that's the whole thing. Where 1, 2, 3, they were still trying to make like
Like,
traditional movies.
I think direct to video. I think they were making direct to video movies.
2 really was like a direct to video type movie where
Yeah.
it kind of had that feel to it. Where, hey, we're picking these guys up along the way.
Direct to video.
Exactly. And 3 was just, it really was destined for video. But the thing about it is 1 and 2 on the money list, if you just pull up the top 100 money list, all 7 of these movies are on that.
That's disgusting.
They make an obscene amount of money, but that's the whole thing where when you got the 3,
Just to give you guys a range here, I actually looked it up on Box Office Mojo. Furious 7, highest grossing of the franchise.
Oh, yeah.
$338 million.
Domestically.
The lowest, Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift, which is the third one you said?
third one.
And that one, they want to ballpark what the lowest grossing Fast and the Furious movie got?
40 million?
40?
Yeah.
You want to guess?
I bet it's still like 100 million.
62 million.
Okay.
So these are money makers.
And I'm kind of a hipster. I'm a Tokyo Drift fan.
Worst movie in the franchise.
No, oh my gosh, no
Worst
way.
movie in the franchise. Not even close.
I'm going to say this. I mean, Too Fast, Too Furious is bad. I think they're
It's
all
horrible.
bad, Mark.
Such a bad title.
Number 4.
It's like a yearbook entry.
But
Number 4, I think it's one of the worst in the series. I rewatched it this weekast, and it is essentially a retelling of the first movie, where Agent Fast Paul, as you call
can we
him.
bring it back? Some people listening to the podcast may have no idea what any of these movies are about.
It's just going to be
So,
Fast and Furious.
I'm just saying,
gonna,
let me summarize right
Okay.
now. So Paul Walker is an FBI agent.
we call him Fast Paul.
First of all,
Fastball.
first movie, he was just a junior grave detective.
Okay. But he's essentially...
I'm not even joking. Like, if you go back to the first...
It's Point Break with cars, right?
Yeah, it is.
So you get Paul Walker, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to bust this car smuggling ring of drugs. And so then he goes undercover and then falls in love with Vin Diesel, and then they get married.
like,
That's essentially what...
it's pretty close. But that's the whole thing. And what you're missing about the franchise and why it's so glorious.
Okay.
If I can get to it. Which is... The first three movies really they're just trying to make these movies that are like action, late 90s, early 2000s, that are just going to be kind of fun films that there were not a lot of thought behind, really.
Okay.
By the fourth movie, they realized, hey, we got all these actors that really don't have this thing going, but it's making so much money. Okay. And that's when I feel like they invented the joke, which is we have these action scenes in these movies that are so unbelievable. But the audience just believes it, and they're like letting the suspension of disbelief just go out the window.
So you admit that
reason.
it's a joke.
No, but that's how you have to view these series.
Okay.
Where it's like you have to consume it as if you're just going into this universe that just exists in this one franchise, and you just enjoy all like the little side humorous jokes.
But do you think the filmmakers think it's a joke?
I think they caught on to it in 5. 4, they were still trying to make a movie, but they didn't realize they were in the joke when they made 4. Because if you're just breaking down 4, and that's where I think the real turning point is in the franchise, because there are so many things that they did in 4, which is so hilarious in an unintentional comedy realm, but then works later in the franchise, just as far as they're able to do these really cool action scenes. And 7 is quite a spectacular movie when it comes to just pure action.
I forgot a critical plot element. I feel bad. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
There are cars that go fast.
There are cars.
I forgot that part of it. That's the plot
But they're
right there.
furious while they're driving.
So wait, this is about angry drivers. This
really
is a series about road rage.
It's anger driving fast.
Okay.
But no, like 4 though, you establish they basically pull back, and when you say they retold the first story because they had to. Because if you really go back and watch the first film, like start to finish, the plot and the characterization and everything is really terrible because Vin Diesel is being chased because they're hunting down.
Chased or chased?
They're
Is he being morally chased or is he being?
Well, he was
sought
like
after?
Peter, so modest is hottest.
Modest is hottest, and he talks about family every 3 words.
So are you saying that I could skip to number 4 and watch 4 through 7, and that would be just as good if I just ignore 2 and 3?
If you've seen 1, all you have to know is, hey, there's some guys in 2 to 3 that are going to come along, and you just kind of accept them.
Paul Walker's going to meet Tyrese to replace Vin Diesel for the short time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Tyrese really makes Tyrese, Ludacris, all of this. They just keep reinventing it as the series goes forward.
Seriously?
The only reason Joel would like 4 is because Michelle Rodriguez dies in the first 20 minutes.
Spoiler alert.
I don't even care.
I'm very happy, but spoiler alert.
No, there's no spoilers in this. I'm just going all out on
She
these.
comes back later in the series and has amnesia.
Oh, I did see that. I read something about that.
Well, because in 4, Vin Diesel, we never actually see her die. Vin Diesel just looks at some tire tracks and then reconstructs the accident and like, oh, hey.
So he's Sherlock?
He kind of is a car whisperer.
Yes, a Sherlock moment. Yeah.
He kind of is the car whisperer, and they just established that for the rest of the series. The other thing they did really well, first 3 movies, it's like, oh, man, the cops are coming. Like, hey, we're in this universe where cops exist, and including Paul Walker. But after that, they're like, hey, do you know what really makes these movies, like, just kills them? Cops.
Wait, so is he a cop in any other movie?
No, he's an FBI agent in 4.
Because
somehow he
I remember
goes
at the end of number 1, he throws his badge into the sand and says, he's not coming back. And then Kurt Russell gets bowled over by a wave. Isn't that the first one?
In every movie, he's like a cop, like a rookie cop in every single movie who's like tempted by the dark side.
So he's still the cop in all the movies?
No, he's a cop up until 4. And 4 is where they got
then
it
he throws
right.
his badge into the sand and says, he's not coming back.
Because first movie, they're doing him as a junior detective. Then the 4th movie, like second movie, that basically gets recruited by the FBI because Evan Mendez is there, and somehow that works. By the 4th
That's kind of the motto of the movie. Somehow that works.
By the 4th movie, though, they're like, hey, they make Paul Walker into like a super detective on the FBI, and they play the classic action movie thing where it's like, oh, hey, Paul Walker. His partners are always angry because he's like, oh, you work too hard. Like, you catch too many bad guys.
Your mouse riding checks your body can't cash.
Exactly. And so they like play into that, like, oh man, look at this guy running down criminals and catching guys.
Is he still doing drug rings and car smuggling rings and shops?
Because in the fourth movie, they actually come back and he teams back up with Vin Diesel to go after a heroin ring in Mexico.
But why is Vin Diesel fighting crime now?
Because Vin Diesel is trying to avenge the death of Ana Lucia.
It's so stupid.
Wait, you can't bring Ana Lucia. You can't say, we're already confused enough as we is. We're already confused enough as is because these characters. They're too many characters, and then you're throwing in lost names as well.
But that's the whole thing in the franchise, where 4 comes in. And you could really, with what you've seen so far, you could skip ahead to 4. Because 4 is where they start the transition from, hey, we're just going to make like cool action movies to, hey, we're going to be in on the joke.
But is there drifting? Because that's really what I want to see drifting.
That's like
3's all about drifting.
Oh, you want to see
drifting.
3.
That's why they call it
5,
Tokyo
7.
Drift?
Yeah.
Are they drifting in Tokyo?
I just remember going to the screening for Fast 5 and going and just being having seen the first 4 and just hating the experience, going, this will be the worst movie ever. But then something happened in Fast 5. And it's when The Rock showed up.
Kent got kicked in the head by a mule. And all of a sudden they started liking them.
I basically did. The Rock showed up. And
In 5. He wasn't in any before that?
No,
he was
just
5.
in 5. And his name is Hobbs. Or
Hops?
Hobbs.
Oh.
Like Calvin and Hobbs.
Hobbs. Okay.
And Mark just calls him The Rock, right?
No, it's just The Rock. And including
call him
International
Dwayne.
Super Cop.
International Super Cop, exactly.
Wait, he's an international super cop?
In
He
5.
is.
So he's a cop. But I thought you said
No.
they got rid of cops.
He's a super cop.
He's the Super Cop.
Cops aren't good enough anymore. They need a super cop.
Define super cop.
No, because
is he bionic?
No, because look, in 6, for example, like Moscow has like an enormous crime wave, and of course, who would Moscow call?
The police academy.
But International Super Cop, The Rock, who's headquartered after the U.S.
So he
because
works
Putin
for
couldn't take it.
Interpol?
No, he's an International Super Cop. You don't need any more explanation than
No, I want to know who does he report to?
He basically just wears a bulletproof vest, and that's it, just so he can show his arms.
Yeah.
And that's The Rock. But he and Vin Diesel have this scene where they actually talk to each other, and it is the most laughably bad dialogue I've ever seen.
Wait, they have dialogue in these movies?
No, there is some dialogue, and the audience was laughing.
No, it
and I'm
was.
going, wait, people are enjoying this because it's that bad. And then the stunts that they pull off in 5 are ridiculous. And then everyone started laughing. Even the critics were like, everyone's doing the arms folded, and then went, oh my word, this is so stupid, and I'm loving it. And that's really when the series just turned around for me, and I said, and
This
even
is number 5.
yeah, and even like Rotten Tomatoes and everything, everyone has started praising these.
So you're saying the
movies.
last 3 of a franchise of 7 are good?
No.
Yeah.
I still go.
and maybe not
Everyone
even
is
6.
worthy of watching. Like, everyone's worthy of watching. 4 is actually working, and this is where I actually disagree with you. 4 is where this transition happened, but the critics didn't realize it. Like, no, I'm serious.
I watched Fast and Furious. I watched 4 over the weekend.
Yeah.
I was bored to tears. There was only one scene of like ridiculous action. It's where they drive under the semi that's on fire, and Ana Lucia's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "It's too late."
Called her Ana Lucia again.
Yeah.
What is the character's name in the
Look,
movie?
I don't even know.
It's Letty. It's Letty.
Letty?
So that's the only scene of like ridiculous action that you can kind of smirk at. Otherwise,
Letty
the movie is
Ortiz
boring and the
Torquero.
plot goes nowhere.
See, but that's the whole point of the film, which is it's unintentional comedy in 4. They were not in
no
on
one
the joke.
No one laughs. They're asleep. 5, they're laughing.
No, 4, it was on the floor.
You know what
like
these
the
need?
people I was watching.
These movies need more Jordana Brewster and less Michelle Rodriguez.
Jordana Brewster isn't what she used to be.
Ouch.
like,
yeah.
So we need just a wall that just kind of sits there. 'Cause that's what she is in the
better than
series.
Michelle
That's what Paul
Rodriguez.
Walker is or was.
Oh.
Well,
Oh.
that's true, right?
I did like in the 7th movie where they made the "Hey, is Ana Lucia hot?" like montage where she's coming out of the
Michelle
water.
Rodriguez.
So we really ignored Jake this entire show, and he just watched number 6, and I would like him to give us his thoughts on
Come on in here,
Fast and
Jake.
Furious 6. Come on over.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you think of the franchise.
Well, I've just been enjoying listening, honestly, and
Glad someone has.
giving time to our guest here. No, I watched 6 last Friday, and I kind of hated it. I actually liked 5 in the way that we've been talking, which was, hey, this is so stupid, it's kind of fun. 6, I got pretty bored, and I mean, if it got points for how many times I shook my head, Like it did great. I mean, on that scale, I
This
sat
one
there,
got 25 head shakes.
yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, no. Like, close my eyes and shake my head. And then and I've heard you talk about this, Mark. So
Single
I'm going to bring
tear.
it up, but
Close your eyes, shake your head, single tear, bow your head.
I'm watching this final scene where they're on the airstrip, right? And I think
the
to myself,
30-mile runway.
oh, I think it has to be so much more than that. Yeah, and like I'm watching the time. I'm like, okay, they're going what 60, 80?
No, look, that entire thing, they actually had a guy after the movie was made, and it was like the whole thing where in the back of your mind you're watching it and you're like, oh, this is a cool action scene. Hey, they're taking down the airplane with civics, and which doesn't really make sense, but it's still like a really cool action scene.
No, harpoon guns and civics.
But in the back of the mind, you're kind of thinking, wow, they've been driving for a while,
Well,
and they're
that
going
happened to
like
me.
80.
At like 10 minutes in, I was like, how long is this airstrip?
Wait, are they chasing a plane?
Yes.
Yeah, they're
chasing a
bringing
plane.
down the world's biggest plane.
Yes, I mean,
But wait, how
this plane is big.
how does a plane go that long and not get any lift?
See, but that's the whole.
They're trying to keep it
go
from
watch,
lifting.
Joel, you got to watch 6, man.
You
gotta
don't.
watch 6.
You really don't.
Wait, but how are they stopping it from taking off? I mean,
It
plane
was-
go fast, plane go up.
They drove cars into the plane, and then they got cars on the side of the wings and harpooned the wings. So
They're holding it
yes,
down.
So
Yes.
the plane.
Look, but that's that's
do
not
not understand
That's
that
the
is
appropriate
nothing. That is
laughter.
nothing.
That's
I
the
can buy
appropriate
that.
laughter for the series.
I can actually buy them weighing down the plane. The fact is, the plane never stops going.
Yeah, no.
For an hour.
No, they're driving. The final scene is,
Is it like-
25 minutes. They're going 80 miles an
Is
hour.
it like
There was
speed
actually
where they're just
people-
going around and around
No,
and
it was
around?
the
It's
same
just straight.
runway.
And then it ends, and it's like I keep waiting for them to be like, "We got to hurry up because pretty soon there's going to be a cliff." You know, like you're just waiting for something like that. No, it's just the never-ending airstrip.
Never-ending air.
And that's the whole thing. They actually had like colleges come in and like break it down, like exactly how long that airstrip was.
Well, what did they figure out? What-
It's
I
like
think it's
20. It's like 28 miles.
No, it was 3 states. 3 states horizontally. It's on infographic. No, seriously. The rate of speed, it was 3 states across.
Like
I
no,
didn't look it up yet, but
I'll go. I'll
28
forward you the
miles?
link.
They
No,
were-
like it's like
it's
28
25
point-
minutes.
which one was it?
Yeah, they did that in the first 15 minutes.
Which movie? Is this a 6?
6, yeah, 6.
But no, look, the whole thing
Is that the most ridiculous part in the series?
Oh my gosh! Like,
I
if
mean,
we're-
because that's
if we're
what I
go-
really want to know from you.
No, look, if we're going
I
down to the if we're
I
going
do
down to
wanna
the
know.
ridiculous level of what happened in the series, I still go one. Vin Diesel looking at the tire tracks and reconstructing the murder scene.
Wait,
of
one?
Ana Lucia.
in 4.
In 4.
Oh.
And the next most ridiculous is Vin Diesel lifting the car in 7. That thing still.
So
like,
no, wait,
it
no one's
still
going to comment
boggles
on the
my
car
mind.
crash in the number 1 because I remember watching that car crash in the very first movie and thinking he's dead.
No, like that's not even close. Like
Oh,
that's why
Joel,
you need to expand.
I want
the
you to
viewing.
watch number 7 because they crash in every single race or whatever, and it's death defying.
By the way, I just looked it up.
They walk away with scratches and bruises.
It's ridiculous. I've been in minor car accidents. They hurt. Just the minor ones I've been in. And yet this guy like rolls, his car falls apart, and then he gets up and goes, "The things I'm gonna do for my country," and then he walks off.
Wait, what did you say? You looked it up?
Yes, I looked it up. The approximate total distance. Well, first of all, let me do this first. The longest runway at Heathrow Airport, which is London, is 2.42 miles. The world's longest paved runway in China, 3.42 miles, and the world's longest unpaved runway at the Edwards Air Force Base, 7.5 miles. And the approximate total distance traveled during the scene, 27.86 miles.
Told you.
I don't buy it. I think that was done quickly.
No, they broke it down.
But I'm saying that's
So it
math
doesn't
times
exist.
more than
no, but it gets
It's
back.
math times
It's
more?
math
Getting all the
times
way-
more.
look,
I'm
getting
not
all the
gonna
way
do my
back to
head
4, and that's what I think was the key differentiators, where they're just like, look, we're just going to take some things out of this reality, cops out of this reality. That goes to the Vin Diesel scene, where
except for super cops.
no, but that comes back in where, and they take that to an even more absurd extreme in the
they're,
7th.
They're
movie.
basically saying, okay, the penal system as we know it is gone. It's now Judge Dredd.
It kind of is. And it works because it's the action movie. Because they picked the right genre to do this with. They're not trying to make a cinematic masterpiece. They're making a fun popcorn movie.
Do you know
that
what's
you're
a
gonna go
better
and
car
enjoy.
popcorn movie? You know what's a better car popcorn movie than any of the Fast and the Furious? The Transporter.
No.
Get Jason Statham in a car, and
No.
when he
And
jumps
by the way,
that car
when
upside
he's
down,
when he's in 7, Like, it just works.
Wait,
he
comes in 7. He's not in any before that.
No, he's not in any before that.
I thought he was like coming back in 7 is like this
He's
revenge
avenging
guy.
his brother.
He's the older brother of the guy in 6.
Wait, so this is Die Hard 3?
Yeah.
It kind of is.
This
Almost.
is everything you've ever seen before and more.
That's where
ridiculous.
where they really worked it well, and I got to compliment them, is they really, and I do mean this, they've reinvented it themselves in each of these movies.
Okay.
The first movie, wait.
gonna give you that. I'm gonna give you
The first
that.
movie was much more of a, cowboy desperado, hey, let's go do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
The second movie was much more of a, I don't know a politically correct way of saying what that movie was, and so I'm just going to go on there. The third movie was definitely like a teen movie, where they took the entire cast out of it and they made it a high school movie in Japan.
Yeah.
The fourth movie, they made a revenge film for an action, which actually worked really well, in my opinion, still. The fifth movie, they then made into Ocean's 11, which is they're terrorizing and stealing everything in Brazil, including the third most ridiculous part of the bridge jump, which is still, when we're watching it, me and my wife, and this is how much we love them, and this is why my wife was actually angry, and I went and saw Furious 7 twice. She was mad that we go to the premiere, midnight showing. It's the only show now we go to the premiere of because we have children. And so,
and it's Furious 7.
And she was mad. She was angry that I was that I got to the pre-screening, and she's like, "Okay, you can go if you want, but So I had to kind of pick up, get to the seventh one. But we've seen each one, and when we were in 5, and we're watching that thing, and they jump off the bridge, okay, and you're waiting, and this is just kind
sure
of the
they
action
didn't jump
sequence.
the shark? Because I'm pretty sure that's what I thought.
It was more than that.
Oh, snap.
It was more than that. Because they're essentially going about 80. They're going towards a cliff.
Yeah.
Is this
They're-
with the
Paul
railroad? Is this
Walker-
the railroad track scene?
Yeah,
it's
it is.
Paul
Okay.
Walker and Vin Diesel, and they're just you keep waiting, and the guy in the back of your head's okay, they're gonna do the e-brake.
Why is there got to be a guy in the back of my head, huh? Why can't it be a girl?
Hey, I don't judge Joel. Come on, man. If that's the voice in your head,
Voice in my head
for
is
it.
my
Joel's
wife.
inner child is or your wife.
It's
Yeah,
my
good
wife.
call.
Kent's inner child is dead.
but they don't do the brake. They just they floor it. And then you're like, oh, well, okay, they're falling off a cliff. Obviously now we're going into maybe parachutes. Where are we going here? And the explanation that they give you is they kick off of the car and they're just kind of free falling, maybe, 400 to 500 feet. The car hits below them and they just kind of torpedo into the water and they pop up maybe one Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. They're popped up and they're like, we're good.
Wait. So,
And that was the point.
sorry,
of
the
franchise.
voice of physics is here.
Yeah, no, physics.
Wouldn't
physics
you wait?
is out the window.
I mean, even in this alternate universe where it's all crazy, wouldn't you wait until the last moment to jump off the car so then you're getting upward thrust instead
That
of
is
going down?
basically what they did. They waited a bit, though, right?
But it seems like, from what it
not
sounds
really
like,
immediately, because I remember because there's
They
the thing where-
immediately kicked off of that thing.
that seems stupid. I've seen every time you talk about elevators crashing, you're like, what if we jumped right at the end? Which, by the way, the Mickey Mouse Club proved that doesn't work.
right.
No. Mythbusters
Mythbusters?
did a thing that
Mythbusters cured my lift.
you could really do that if you jumped at the right time.
No, because they said it's traveling down. So if you jump, just like when the elevator starts to go down and you jump, you go higher than anticipated. So if it's falling fast, you're going to hit your head in
But
the top.
you're bringing physics and reality. into
160 feet is how much you can jump into water
Right.
without dying. Under that, anything above
well,
160
you
feet.
mortals, maybe.
Yeah, not Vin Diesel and Fast Paul.
this. Right. Hey, he had on his jumping into water wife beater, so
Yeah.
he was good to go.
It's like the bat utility belt. It's
he
just like,
kind of does.
This will
Look,
save me.
In the 7th movie, when he shows up to his wedding, and he's in a wife beater.
Wait, you're using
at the
nothing but
wedding.
pronouns. We have no idea who you're talking about.
Vin Diesel
Shows up
Vinny.
to
He shows up in 7th movie. There's a flashback to his wedding,
to Vin Diesel's own wedding.
to his wedding with Ana Lucia.
He marries Michelle Rodriguez.
You're just throwing out spoilers
Hey,
like crazy.
I'm just throwing it out. There's no way of spoiling this
I'm
franchise.
gonna die.
And he's sitting there in a white wife beater in this elaborate scene. She has a wedding dress on. He's like, hey, I'm here to marry you.
And what's up with Vin Diesel's voice in the movies?
Look,
because he actually can speak,
he
and you can
can.
understand him in real life.
Because
I am Groot.
It gets back to the entire franchise, which is they figured out the formula, which is if you put that Vin Diesel character
If
next
you
to
mumble
anyone,
enough,
it makes anyone else look like the most amazing actor in the history of man.
Well, that's the thing. He's not really a great leading man.
No.
He's more of a supporting character, but he is the guy billed on the poster as the franchise.
wait, Vin Diesel is not the star?
No, he is. I mean, and he's the reason these movies are so successful.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
It has nothing to do with the cars and the action and the hot women.
I mean, that comes
yeah,
following.
that goes in between.
But, Vin Diesel is I mean, you see him next to The Rock, and The Rock is full of charisma. I mean, he is.
I smell what he's cooking.
Yeah, thank you for that. and Vin Diesel doesn't hold a candle to him.
No, but he makes The Rock look amazing. But that's
why
the whole
would they
thing.
do that? Why would
it's the multiplier. Like you can put. That's why they keep adding people to the franchise. Anyone next to Vin Diesel looks amazing in those scenes,
Except for Paul Walker.
Kurt Russell. Well, yeah, Fast Paul. That didn't work in the original, so it doesn't.
So they got rid of his character.
Too soon.
The look of Joel's face. Like, I really. Are you related to him?
Well, I have a kinship to him spiritually.
But I mean, look, even if you get back to the entire point of the franchise is that bridge jump.
Cars go fast. That's the point of the franchise.
It kind of you just kind of watch it and you're like, oh, people are laughing at that bridge jump when we saw it in the premiere. Okay, they're just laughing, but you see it and you're like, oh, that was actually kind of cool.
I like to laugh at comedies. I don't like to laugh at action movies.
See, but that's the whole thing. Go to the 80s movies, great 80 action movies, like Commando. Okay, I'm serious. That was a great 80s action movie.
I'm following you.
When they drive full speed into a telephone pole and then jump out.
No, but that's the whole thing.
I love that part.
They've set up the franchise so well that these stunts that are happening in the later movies, because of the groundwork they laid earlier in the franchise, they were able to make these really awesome action scenes that really kind of worked. Because in 7, when we were watching it, and they're jumping between buildings. In cars, and we're laughing about this. We're laughing about this for weeks going into the film. But when I saw it in the theater, I'm like, I can't believe that, but that kind of worked. All of those big action scenes. You watched it and you're like, that was actually kind of fun.
My brain would be going, no.
And that's why you laugh, because you just kind of go, oh, come on. Kind of like Jake did over 6. He just kind of did, his head wave. He's like, no.
Because then the other fun thing is you come up with the deleted scenes that you kind of want to see, which is, hey, after you see they're in the top of the building after the car goes out, and you're like, hey, how do they get down? How are they hey, walking out of that building? Because at the next scene, they're just like, hey, guys.
Well, don't get me wrong. I love entertainment. I love fun stuff. I love turning off my brain and enjoying things, but there comes a point when it becomes laughable and not in a good way, when it becomes so bad that it's good.
See, but that's what I really think works with this franchise and why 4 was so critical to the franchise. Because that was the transition point in the movies where they were going, hey, we're going to go from action, but we're going to really start pushing the boundaries. And so that's why I don't think you could jump straight to 7 per se, or even to 6. If you were just to watch 1, I think 4 is where the starting point is, because 4 is enough of an arc that you can kind of see it build up. And so when you're in 6 and you're having 2 pretty good action scenes which have physics just out of the window. When they're going with the tank.
Yeah, Jake, remember the tank jump?
They're going the tank where Vin Diesel...
Frank the Tank?
Vin Diesel saves Ana Lucia by driving really fast, jumping out of his car, catching her in midair, and then slamming into the windshield of another car.
Much like when Jason Statham has to jump up in between 2 cars in the transporter, and then they crash underneath him and he lands on the hoods. Awesome.
You're a big Transporter fan then, huh?
It was so entertaining.
Look, but if you like that, you would love these movies.
No, because
true.
they have one thing. They have Michelle Rodriguez, and that is what is wrong with the series.
But they kill her for 2 of the films.
They kill her twice? I am in.
They kind of do.
All right, pop quiz, Hotshot. What is the longest movie what is the shortest movie in the franchise?
I think it's 1.
You say number 1?
I think it's 1.
I'm sorry. The correct answer is Tokyo Drift at 104 minutes.
No, Tokyo Drift is clearly the longest movie of the franchise because it's awful.
It's not actually awful.
It's kind of bad.
It's dumb, but it's not the worst.
Do you know what the longest one was?
6?
7.
I'm sorry. The correct answer is Mark's description of the movies. That was the longest one.
Oh, cold.
No, Furious 7 at 137 minutes. These things bloated near the end. They go 100. Okay, just to give you a rundown. 106, number 1. Number 2 is 107. Number 3 is 104. Then 107. Then it goes 130, 130, 137. At the end there, they were just like,
okay, look,
more cars, more action.
I bag on these movies, but they know what they're doing. As Mark said,
so did the Twilight movies.
No.
They hit their audience.
Beast.
No, they hit their audience just right.
No, you're in a different beast, because the other thing that's not being appreciated with the franchise is to make it this much money. Just historically, the people that have to keep going back to see these films are traditionally women. That come back.
Fast and the Furious movies?
That kind of make this much money. We're talking about this much gross because it's now the fourth most highest grossing movie of
It
all
is.
time.
Yeah.
And those are the traditionally in movie going. Those are the people that repeat seeing it. Is usually more of the women demographic.
Well, and now, they know what they're doing because they shot internationally. They shot in Abu Dhabi and Azerbaijan, and they make that clear.
Yep.
That we are kind of like Transformers did, kind of like Avengers just barely did. They're going to reach out to those countries and say, come see our movie.
And they're broadening their base. Honestly, they're
They
actually
are.
doing a very
Just
good
want
job.
to throw this
of
out here. So, Fast and the Furious franchise total
I feel like
box
I'm
office
going to be sick.
1,276,205,000.
Just domestically, right? Yeah, because the new one is more than that.
So that's the total. That's 7 movies.
Well, what's the worldwide total? Does
Just
it have
saying,
that?
not here in this one. But then Twilight franchise, remember, Fast and Furious was 1,276,000,000. Twilight franchise, 5 movies, 1,363,000,000. And you're telling me that they didn't hit you're saying that these are money makers because they hit their audience right, but Twilight isn't?
Can I say something controversial?
Please do.
I think Breaking Dawn parts 1 and 2 are equal to Fast and Furious.
Oh.
Like, I laughed just as hard in Breaking Dawn as I did in Furious.
I think let the
Fast
record
5.
show that Mark just pulled out a knife.
No,
and
like
he's holding it to Ken's
they're
throat.
dumb for the point of being dumb, and that's when they're like, whatever. Here's a CG baby that no one will buy. Here's werewolves mind talking. We're going to talk about imprinting here, and that's what in Furious 7 we're going to have Jason Statham show up wherever the good guys are. We're going to have a car versus a helicopter. I mean, there are
you don't
no
even
limits.
get into car versus car, where they come out. Vin Diesel senses Statham and his presence at the funeral, drives off. No one tries to stop him, and then they do a head-on collision.
I mean,
in L.A., and that's the other thing that's just absurd about the movie 7. Is the climax takes place in downtown L.A. with virtually no traffic.
Oh, and there's no cops either, by the way.
Except for Super Cops.
Yeah.
But
Super Cop!
initially, I would say, man, I had a knee jerk. I'm like, no, I don't like that. That's a controversial thing for Kent to say. But really, as far as suspension of disbelief, I feel like Furious has more staying power. But yeah, they hit the audience in the same way. Where it's they knew the audience, they knew they
Joel,
were going.
If you were to watch these movies,
If.
and say you start with 4, as Mark
Big
said.
F.
Yeah, that's a big
no,
F.
you're depriving
F and
yourself.
F.
You're depriving yourself.
You'd watch 4 and you'd be like, oh, that was really boring. Do I have to keep going in? I'd be like, yes, yes, yes. And then 5, you'd be like, oh my gosh, that was like Mystery Science Theater, bad. And then you'd watch 6, which Jake just did, and you'd say, I think they got the joke too much.
Yep.
And now they're trying too hard.
Well, it's the same explanation I say of once people are in the joke, it's not as funny.
But then they got a new director with James Wan in Furious 7, which is actually a fantastically stupid, but fantastic is still in there, movie. I mean, it knows
They should call this the Fantastic and the Furious, is what you're saying?
that's number 9. When Vin Diesel becomes a flying car.
No, number 8.
A flying stretchy car with a mullet.
Number 8 coming out in 2017, Fast and Furious 8.
But
Yeah.
these movies
New
can do
York
amazing
City.
things. Like Helen Mirren wants to be the villain in 8. Helen Mirren, Oscar winner.
Red Star.
Well, here's why I read this actually a while ago before 7 came out. Was Kurt Russell talking about the Fast series, saying this thing has some sort of magic sauce that everybody knows about it, yet it's still under the radar.
Is that what The Rock is cooking? Is the magic sauce?
I'm sure he is.
It kind of is in the 7th.
Yeah, but it stays under the radar and is making tons of money.
this-
No one is taking it seriously.
Enough so
but
that they're
it's
gonna
making
spin off-
piles of money.
They're going to spin off a specific Rock Super Cop series.
It doesn't
off of
surprise
this.
me at all about Helen. Mirren.
Isn't Rock Super Cop in every one of his movies? You're
Yeah.
just thinking of The Rundown
Yeah.
and Walking Tall.
The
and-
upcoming San Andreas. And Mark, you coming to San
Hey,
Andreas with me?
it's on the calendar. It's circled. I've saw
I haven't
the
even told you the date.
You were out of the office.
Let
you
the
were
record
out
show
of the office.
Mark is taken. Mark has put his knife back. He's not holding
look,
it against
when
it
I
anymore.
saw, I almost called you when the final trailer came out. As I watched it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing, because these are the action movies that work.
All right. So I have to ask you this.
Okay.
I know you're just giving out spoilers like crazy. What do they do in the franchise now that Paul Walker is no longer part of it?
What? Spoiler alert.
I try to keep that as PC as possible.
First of all, the only thing that was odd about 7 was the end of the movie. Okay.
Which people love, though.
No, but which worked, which was super odd because
Isn't that
one,
Big shift.
Isn't that when they had Sarah McLachlan's I will?
it kind of was that
They had a
moment.
bunch of dogs with 3 legs walk up.
they have digital Paul driving off into the sunset, and people are tearing up in the theater. It was man.
It's a very sad thing. The truth be told, I was saddened by that. And it really does suck when you lose someone in the prime of their life when they have their whole life ahead of them like that.
But if I were predicting, so that was just odd because you have this franchise that's so fun and so off the wall, and then it got serious. It got really serious at the end.
I think the kids these days say it got real.
Like, well, that's the other thing. And
Is that what they say?
The best
what they say.
acting of the entire franchise was the end of it, where they have the beach scene where they have like the motley crew kind of sitting there. So you have
Is that when
Ludacris,
Keanu Reeves throw the
Tyrese.
badge into the water and
kind-
says he's not coming back?
It kind of was
Yeah.
because they're all kind of sitting there, and you have Digital Paul playing with his 2 children, and I had to wait for it. But he's playing with his 2 children, and Jordana Brewster and them are playing in the waves.
Wait,
and they
are
have
his-
this
is one of his digital children Renesmee from Twilight?
It's a digital family at this
Look,
point.
the scene was really
The Sims.
when you're looking at the actors, they actually had true feeling, and it's the only real
They shot
acting
that
they
after,
did.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they did real acting in the scene. It
I
actually
don't
worked
think it's
really
acting.
well.
I think they were honestly
No,
sad.
but that's why it worked.
So
and
you
so all of a
prefer-
sudden, you got this
They
really
actually all
real
said their
movie.
goodbyes in that scene.
Yeah.
Wow.
Until Vin Diesel, who needed to drive away until there was a drive off into the
Which,
sunset.
which does make sense with this character at all in the series because the entire series is like, hey, I gotta get back with my family, But every time at the end of the movies, is like, I'm out.
Yeah, he really does.
I don't want to hang around here with you guys.
So I would venture to
But-
say that Paul Walker was the heart of the franchise.
No, he kinda
He's-
makes it work.
He's not the gruff guy. He's not the tough one. He's just the rookie cop. And to lose him means that either you have to replace him or just keep going with just action, and
Or-
hope the fans forget.
Or Digital Paul. Let's go full Simone on
So,
this.
so we're gonna have Paul Walker's brothers with
Yes.
digital face.
Yes.
I could see a cameo in 8 with that, but
Really? No, they wouldn't.
I could kind of see it. But
it would be tacky.
it would be, but
Especially if
part
they
of the
gave him a
series.
goodbye. If they gave him a goodbye in this one, to bring him back would cheapen it.
But no, if I'm making predictions about what they're going to do with the series, because I don't think they can necessarily replace Paul going forward in 8, 9, 10, or however many they're going to make of these. I think a good strategic move, and I think this is part of The Rock, where they clearly were setting up a standalone Hobbs movie. I think they kind of segment off the characters at this point,
Calvin and Hobbes, the movie.
and they could kind of do that.
They should.
And so that way, hey, the next movie 8 should kind of focus more just on Vin Diesel, Vinny.
Haven't
and,
they been doing that
kind of
this whole
segment-
franchise?
They kind of haven't since 4. It's kind of become a buddy action movie thing where they're bringing in different people and different
Riggs and
crews.
Murtaugh, is that what you're saying?
Kind of.
I think they're going to find another kind of skinny white guy to play opposite Vin Diesel.
You're just lobbying for the role.
Yeah, I really am, actually. I'm a better actor than Paul Walker.
Oh,
He is. Look, I love the franchise.
The guy was
but I
in
know what it is
Joyride.
and what it isn't.
You love Joyride.
I love
so much.
Joyride.
That's where your affinity for Paul Walker comes from. Candy cane.
It's Paul Walker and Steve Zahn. I love that movie.
Lily Sobieski.
Yeah, well, she's okay.
Yeah.
She's like a lesser Kirsten Dunst.
Here's the thing. I feel like we could do 3 or 4 podcasts on the Fast and Furious.
Please no,
I just think I want to hear your final argument as to why Joel needs to watch these.
because you
movies.
haven't convinced me yet.
No, I would say
And
final
try
argument.
and do it in a shorter time than Fast and Furious 4.
Yep.
Final argument. It really is just an enjoyable process when you see these films. We're going from 4 to 7. It's just one of those things where I'm not an unintelligent guy, and I would definitely argue that. And so when I'm seeing these films and kind of sitting down and loving what they are able to accomplish in a very kind of wacky off the wall way, where they kind of build upon each other, where if you get through 4 and 5, and that would be the point where you're like, hey, Joel, watch 4 and 5 and then tell me what you think. Because if you don't like it after 5, you're not going to like the series. But it's just the right level of these 80 action movies that aren't on the market right now. There just isn't that segment of the market that's being occupied.
You're saying if I don't like it by 5, I will never
If you watch,
like it.
if you watch 4 and 5 and you don't like it, you're not human.
So that's the breaking point.
No, I haven't met someone yet that's like, hey, watch 4 and 5. And they're like, oh my gosh, these movies are so enjoyable. It's not like, hey, these are great movies, where these are like, hey, I'm going to own these movies. But these are enjoyable movies where you can watch them, have fun doing it, and then move on.
I'll say this, Joel. You watched Expendables 1 and 2, right?
And 3.
And 3, unfortunately. But you didn't really like 1 all that
1
much.
was meh. 2
but
was
2
fun.
was fantastic. I think that's going to be your process with this. It's going to be watch a movie, and then you're going to be watching the equivalent of
Do I need to
Expendables
watch
Part
2 and 3 and 4?
No.
No.
Well, 4.
Four, I
Mark
still
wants
make
you to
the
watch.
argument that
I'd
you
say
start at 4.
You won't enjoy it till 5, but you will be getting Expendables 2 quality with Fast 5.
4 is more for backstory and understanding 5.
And
Which I
if
appreciate.
I'm going to go off one of your previous points, is you say like Avengers is a comic book movie. Why would you try to like equate it with film? This is not trying to be film; it's trying to be a fun, entertaining movie. So
This
go
is a
with
comic
it.
book movie.
Go. It's essentially a comic book movie, and it's popcorn.
It's an 80s action movie. Like, if you like 80s action or just
And I
action
do.
movies, you should watch these.
Well, the problem is that much you guys know that I kind of like to get the whole picture. So if I'm going to watch it, I have to watch 2 and 3 and 4.
Then I can't recommend it.
I
would
want
still
the complete
recommend it.
I
set.
can't recommend it.
I would still
if you need to be a
recommend
completist, then don't do it.
I need to complete it.
2's tough. 2's tough. It's a cable
I
movie.
wonder if Riff Tracks has these.
Oh, they have
Can
to.
I watch these with Riff Tracks?
Oh,
is
yeah.
that acceptable,
Yeah.
Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. I might do that.
Like, but once you get to 4, though, just watch it straight. Like 1, 2, 3, you still need the backstory.
I'm always straight.
And on that note,
Hey, Jake.
well, Mark, thanks for coming and talking Fast and Furious with us. And maybe Joel, what do you think? What's he talked you into?
I may add them to the bottom of my Netflix queue.
Starting
I'll
at 2,
take it.
huh? Yeah.
I'll
Starting
take
at
it.
2.
All right. That sounds good. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. I'm Jacob, who has mostly been absent. So just to remind you, and
Hey, I'm Kent
I'm Joel.
and Mark,
Hey, it was great being here.
and we'll bring you back probably for San Andreas or something awesome like that. But just remember, till next time, we're Baconsale.
Mythbusters cured my lip.
Whatever. Here's a CG baby that no one will buy.
Kent got kicked in the head by a mule. Kent's inner child is dead.
You know,
Your mouse riding checks your body can't cash.
exactly.